Welcome to We Don't Have Cookies with your host, Jason Marshall.
Hey everybody, thanks for downloading the show. I'm sorry there wasn't a show last week. I was very busy working, but the show is officially back, and I'm very excited to kick off Season 6 with this episode. The podcast's official weatherman and YouTube star, Frankie MacDonald, will be making his return all the way from the Gold Coast of Australia, the world's first legally blind person to write, produce, edit, direct, and star in a featured film unassisted. Gough will be here as well. But first, you may have seen my next guest on the last season of the CBS hit reality show Big Brother. You may have seen her on the reality show Dallas Cowboy Cheerleader making the team on CMT. You may also remember her from the HBO show Curb Your Enthusiasm. And if you do, you're mistaken because she's never been on that last one. It's America's newest sweetheart, Kat Dunn. How are you?
Oh my gosh, when you said the thing about Curb Your Enthusiasm, I was like, wait a second, hold on, he's mistaken. Okay, something went wrong. But thanks for having me.
No, thanks for being on the show. All right, bye. Man, it was really good to talk to her. I loved her on Big Brother. I also like her. Oh. Hello?
Was that it?
Oh, man. This is unprecedented. I've never had a guest make their return on the show so quickly. Only one other person has been on the same episode as a guest twice. That was Mike Furman, but it's great to have you back. What have you been up to since we last spoke?
Well, I took a couple steps, in my living room to just a different part of the house. So that was thrilling.
Nice.
So I guess I've been traveling.
Well, like I said on your last appearance, you were on last season's Big Brother, and you made it pretty far. I think one question all of your fans would love to know, and I'm only asking this about the season you were on, because you couldn't possibly know about the others, but...
No, not anything.
But did everybody poop while they were in the house, or did anybody hold it till they got home?
I held it the whole time.
Did you?
But, yeah, so it was a little uncomfortable. But, okay, get this.
Uh-huh.
So we have a bathroom, there's the HOH bathroom upstairs, but then there's the bathroom downstairs that you see, if you watch the show, that's one that you see everyone use.
Uh-huh.
And not only is there only that one little stall bathroom, there's no lock on the door. So there is a thing that you can turn to say occupied or not, but it never actually locks. So people walk in on each other all the time by accident. And then also there's a camera in the bathroom that it doesn't go out to the feeds or anything, but they have it in there in case something game altering happens in the bathroom or for safety purposes if someone gets sick or something like that. Mm-hmm. But there is somebody that has to watch the footage of people going to the bathroom in the house, which is disgusting.
That is pretty bad.
I know. Can you imagine you work your whole life to try to get a big production job in Hollywood, and then you finally get one with Big Brother, and it's to watch the bathroom feed. Oh wow.
Well, I was going to ask, do you have any funny stories from your time on Big Brother?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. A lot of it was really slap happy stuff because we had nothing to do in the house. Uh-huh. So I remember it was day 2. And I'd already been in sequester for a while because, they always sequester you before you move into the house.
Real quick. I hate to interrupt you.
Oh, yeah.
Are you talking to me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, why?
Huh?
Wait, why?
Just making sure.
Oh, I'm confused. Wait, who else have I been talking to?
No, I just thought it would be funny to throw that in there. And I texted you a long time ago that when you come on the show, I am going to interrupt you to ask if you're talking to me.
Oh, I was so confused. I was like, wait. I was like,
I don't know if I should edit that out or leave it in.
Oh my gosh. I was like, wait, who else? I thought that maybe I don't even know. I'm really gullible, so you can't pull stuff like that on me.
Okay. I think I'll leave that in.
Okay, But anyways, my story. Okay. So it was like a lot of like really slap happy stuff. So, I remember like the second day, like I was like lacking sleep. Like I'd already been like sequestered for a long time. And Tommy, who is one of my fellow house guests, hates mayo, and he like ate like a whole spoonful of it. And I just remember it doesn't sound that funny saying now, but at the time it was so hilarious. Like I was like, this is the funniest moment of my life. I was like doubled down of laughter, and it just, that house messes with you and makes you go crazy. Who knows that mayo would be so funny?
Why did he eat it if he hates it? Just curious.
It was like we were playing this game that was like odds are or something. So it's kind of like you like both have to like guess a number at the same time, and then whoever's closest to a number that someone else is thinking. It's kind of like a betting game of sorts. So he like lost his little bet and he had to eat mayo. But it was the funniest, like it was my favorite, like clear, vivid memory of my time in the Big Brother house. And I still don't know why it was so funny. I just have to like chalk it up to I was in the midst of going crazy.
One of my favorite moments of Big Brother had to do with you. It was really kind of random. I like you, but I don't know why this was one of my favorite moments. You were playing a comp and you got a trip to somewhere and you said you were going to give it to your parents.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just so awesome because most people, they're just happy they got a trip and they're not really thinking about anybody else. And I thought it was really cool that you did that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, actually, so I love going to Hawaii. Maui is one of my favorite places in the entire world. So earlier last year, before I'd gone on Big Brother, I had gone on a Maui trip with some of my girlfriends we were working. We were doing some promotional work for a hotel out there. Mm-hmm. I remember when I booked that job, my mom she asked me if she could like come with me, if she could be my photographer. She started like looking up like videos on YouTube about photography because she was like trying to find a way that she could like come on this trip with me to Hawaii, but she couldn't because it was, it was work and, there was already, the place that we were staying was already full and, different reasons. But I had told myself that it was my goal that year to be able to afford a trip to Hawaii to send my parents on. Nice. So I thought it was kind of cool that then I ended up winning one in the comp while I was at Big Brother. So that's how I was, so like, oh, this is perfect. I'd already been, I guess, manifesting this since earlier this year. The thing that stinks though is that when I got back from Big Brother, it wasn't the right time to go to Hawaii. Like there's different like seasons that you want to go. And it wasn't like necessarily peak Hawaii season, I guess. It begins in March and then kind of goes through September. So I was waiting until this time this year to send them, and then quarantine hit. So they haven't even been able to go, which stinks.
You talking about your mom, even though I kind of brought it up, it reminded me of something. And by the way, if this is your first time listening and you're a Big Brother fan, I've interviewed quite a few other house guests. I'll have links to the episodes in the show notes if you want to check them out. And I'll be talking to some house guests coming up in the next few episodes. So, make sure you subscribe. Next week, I'll be talking to Elena Davies' mom. Just so you know, if you're a former guest on the show and you don't return my calls or texts, I'm going to call your mom, bring her on the show, and I'm going to tell on you.
Oh no, that's such a threat. That is like the threat.
Yep. So if Elena Davies is out there, you're going to be in trouble.
Watch out, Elena.
You just started your own podcast called Kat's Litter Box. What can people expect to hear on your show?
Well, since it's called Kat's Litter Box, you can expect to hear a lot of shit. No, I'm just kidding. It's called Conspire Away Bitches with Kat Dunn. Right now, people can primarily expect to hear, honestly, just Big Brother stuff because I've been living and breathing Big Brother since the season started back up. And with my audience, there is a demand for consuming Big Brother content. So I'm starting out, really just kind of honing in on Big Brother, especially because I got to consider myself a Big Brother expert. But eventually it's going to be covering everything from pop culture news to, kind of like social media, what's trending, to some conspiracy theories, because I love conspiracy theories. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really lighthearted, a fun, easy listen that you can just like kind of listen to in your car and laugh along. So I'm excited to have it up and going.
Well, if you like conspiracy theories, make sure you listen all the way to the end of the show because I will be announcing probably the most controversial guest I've ever had on this show, and he has a lot to do with that.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
exciting.
I'll have to talk to him and get him on your show. I think you would love this guy. But
I'm excited.
I like to do something on the show called a question from my last guest, where I get a question from my last guest to ask my next guest without my last guest knowing who my next guest will be. The question can be silly or serious. Kat, are you ready for a question from my last guest?
I'm ready.
Why did you quit that one thing that you were really excited about doing?
Why did I quit that? I was really excited. Well, I'm trying to think of the last thing that I quit. Honestly, I feel like anything that if I'm ever really excited about doing something and then I quit, it's because I really just am not excited about it anymore. And it's just as simple as that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I've quit recently that I've been excited about, probably because by the time that I quit, I was no longer excited about it. So I no longer have good feelings attached to it.
Well, before you go, I haven't played a game with a guest on the show in a long time. I have the perfect one for you. And if you win, you get a big prize. What do you say?
Okay, I'm in.
All right. I'm going to count down from 3, and I want you to name 2 states in 2 seconds. Are you ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
California and North Dakota.
No, Kat, I'm sorry. The answers that I would have accepted were solid, liquid, or gas. You lost, and you don't get your big prize.
Oh, man.
Yeah, sorry.
That was good. That was my next guess.
Okay.
But I went with California and North Dakota because I was like, probably this.
I was going to sign over the deed to my house and all 6 acres. You really fucked up.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot of fun talking to you, but I'm done. Is there anything you'd like to promote before you go?
Honestly, I guess my big thing that I'm promoting right now is my new podcast, Conspire Away Bitches. If you like Big Brother, reality TV, pop culture news.
Hey, real quick.
Uh-huh.
You're talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, actually, no, I'm talking to the people listening to it right now. I fall for that every time.
I'm sorry, okay. I totally screwed up your plug. Start over.
No, okay, so, no, actually, I feel like that's the best way that my plug could have gone. Because I feel like the beauty of my podcast is it is very casual, and there's not really necessarily a script. And it's just kind of like, it feels like you're having a conversation with your best friend. So if you want to interrupt me while I'm pitching it, I feel like that kind of fits the vibe of the conversational flow that it already has.
And it's a great podcast. If you're a Big Brother fan, highly recommend it. A lot of fun.
Thank you.
Hey, real quick, just right before you go, when you want to smell something, you use your nose, right?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I can't think of any other way to do it. I was just checking.
And some people, I think, stick their thumb in it. I've heard that works.
Huh. Okay.
I mean, it doesn't work for me, but someone told me that one time, and I was like, okay, well, maybe.
Hey, it's worth a shot. All right. It was great talking to you. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back.
All right, bye.
Hey guys, it's Elena Davies from the Miscellaneous Podcast, and you are listening to We Don't Have Cookies.
Want to contact the show? Send an email to jason@wedon'thavecookies.com or call 929-266-9342 and leave a voicemail.
It's been a few months since I've talked to my next guest, but he was on the last episode of the podcast that had guests on, so it won't seem like it's been that long for you if you're a new listener and you scroll through the archives. He's just 2 episodes back. But from the Gold Coast of Australia, the world's first legally blind person to write, produce, edit, direct, and star in a feature film unassisted, the man behind Beer Nuts Productions, the one and only Gough. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm very well. I'm not sure that I can live up to such a great introduction, but I will do my best.
What have you been up to since you were last on the show?
Well, I've actually been, as odd as it would sound, I've actually been very busy. So luckily for us in Australia, we didn't get the virus as bad as you guys. So our restrictions we were in a fairly heavy lockdown for a short while, but I still had access to a recording studio. So I was able to punch out some audio tracks, which are now on beernutsproductions.com. And I also thought to myself, because we were on some restrictions, so I also thought to myself, well, I still need to do my movies and things. So I figured, well, what can I do that's not too big that I can still produce? And then I thought, well, about 4 years ago, I did 7 episodes in like a mock chat show TV series format. So I thought to myself, well, why don't I write a few more of them? Because they're not as big as the movies. That's exactly what I did. So a few weeks ago, we released episode 8, which was the Melanie Holden interview. And just this week, we've released episode 9, which is the Jasmine Stinks interview. And so I interview a young lady called Jasmine Stinks. And you've actually had a bit of a sneak preview of this latest monstrosity of ours.
That's right. I really enjoyed it. How did you come up with the name Jasmine Stinks? Is that a joke on somebody?
Well, I mean, if
is that an X?
When the folks watch the project, they might realize why I believe that Jasmine does actually stink. You know, I don't. She's quite. In my opinion, she might not be the nicest of people that's ever walked the earth. So that's kind of where the name title goes from. But with all the mock TV chat shows that I've done, I've always gone with names that are kind of appropriate to the character. So, for example, I think it's episode 3 is the Robbie Pockets interview. And the reason why he's called Robbie Pockets is in Australia, we have an expression, if somebody is like completely useless, like they're terrible at everything, they are as useless as pockets in underpants. And Robbie Pockets is completely useless. So that's why he's as useless as pockets in underpants. So we called him Robbie Pockets. And same with Jasmine Stinks. I think once people watch it, they'll realize why I believe that Jasmine kind of does stink.
You know, I have a nickname. It's Two Shoes. And that's because anytime I wear shoes, I always wear 2 of them. Fun fact.
Well, you don't want to wear. I heard somebody say once, you don't just put one shoe on, because then if your house catches fire, you can just hop out. You need to use both feet to run out for a fire. Episode 9 was all shot outdoors. I know you cast an actress to be in it, but I also heard some birds in the background. What was the casting process like for them? You know, it was rigorous. It was very rigorous indeed. They had to go through several different auditions to make sure that their pitch and tones were just perfect. Uh-huh. And luckily, I had some especially flown in from Zimbabwe. So nice. I was very, very lucky. Yes, I was able to find just the right birds.
I thought I detected an accent, but I wasn't really sure because I don't live in Australia. So I wasn't quite there, but I thought that was the case.
Yeah, well, yeah. Why you don't want to be coming off as racist against people from Zimbabwe? So I think that's a very wise choice on your part there, Jason.
Gough has been on the podcast a few times, so if you would like to hear more about how he does what he does despite being legally blind, or you want to hear about some of his movies and other projects, I have links to those episodes in the show notes. I asked my last guest this question. I want to ask you this too. When you smell things, you use your nose, right?
Well, usually, yes.
Yeah, me too. Okay. So far, everybody's on the same page. I'd like to
But uh-huh. You know, Jason, if your feet run and your nose smells, then you're upside down. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to play a game with you before you go if you're up for it.
Absolutely. Why not? I suddenly feel like I'm on the Ellen show. We're playing games. There should be a whole group of screaming middle-aged women right about now. So I expect that sound effect to be inserted.
All right. I want you to pick a number between 1 and 10.
We'll go with number 9.
All right, buddy. Well, that was a lot of fun. I'm sure listeners had just as much fun listening to that game as we did playing it. Where can people find you online?
Absolutely. So, yes, beernutsproductions.com is the main website and the only place you're able to download all of our stuff. We now have 20 films that we've made and 13 audio downloads. So there's tons of stuff up there. So yeah, beernutproductions.com and of course all over social media. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever you're on, we're on. So just type Beer Nuts Productions into Google and we should hopefully come up. So yes.
As always, it was great to have you on. I'm looking forward to having you back.
Absolutely, Jason. Thank you so much for your time.
I'm going to play a quick clip from Gough's Jasmine Stinks interview, and I will be back with the We Don't Have Cookies legend, Frankie MacDonald.
I am pleased to announce that I'm going to be making a comeback as a professional tennis player.
I don't recall you ever being a professional tennis player.
Oh, no, I wasn't. I mean, I'm coming back from my charitable elephant ride to become a professional tennis player. And I'd also like to announce that any prize money I win will be going to a range of different charities, mainly those who do research into sexually transmitted diseases. My poor mother. She was such an attractive woman, but now ravaged. Don't get me wrong, she's still too good for you, but it'd be nice to get her on some good pills.
Right, well, that's about all the time we have for tonight.
Why?
I will have a link to Gough's website in the show notes along with his past podcast appearances. Now is the time you have all been waiting for. Returning to the show is the podcast's official weatherman and YouTube star, Frankie MacDonald. Frankie, what will the weather be like this week starting on Monday?
Yeah, and it's going to be cooler. Cooler front is headed for Dayton, Ohio. Then heat waves will come later on this week in Dayton, Ohio. So bringing a whole lot of rain in Virginia, USA. And in New Zealand, still really cold right now. And the winter's coming to an end in New Zealand soon. Same with summer's coming to an end. Meteorological spring starts in New Zealand on September 1st. Same with meteorological fall starts in your area on September 1st.
What will the weather be like this week in California and New York?
It's going to be so hot and dangerously hot in California. And it's going to be really, really, really hot in California. And it's going to be cooler than average temperatures in New York City. It's not going to be, and then they got rain headed for Virginia and things like that, and Maryland and Ocean City, Maryland, those places. California is dangerous. Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, Oregon, Washington. It's going to be more hot weather in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Edmonton, Regina, Saskatoon. They're getting extreme heat in Western Canada this week.
Anything people in the UK need to be aware of?
It's so hot in the UK. They're boiling over in the UK right now. It's really, really, really hot. Then it got remnant. Tropical storm Kyle is headed towards UK. And then it got Josephine and Kyle both going over to sea. There's a gigantic, powerful storm system coming off of West Coast Africa, soon to be hurricane.
Wow. I recently got your book, The Frankie MacDonald Guide to Life, Weather, and Everything. I'm really enjoying it, Frankie. It's a great book.
You have to tell your friends.
I definitely will, and I will post a picture of it on Instagram today as people are listening to this.
Yes, what about Frankie MacDonald action figures back in stock?
Are they really? Because I have your bobblehead. The Frankie MacDonald action figure is the only thing I don't have, and I would love to get one. Where can people get those?
FrankieActionFigure.com website.
All right. You also have decided to do a world tour. Tell us about that. What's the latest?
I'll be traveling to every country in the world. People have to pay at the box office to go see me on stage. I'll be dancing on stage with women. I'll be giving those speeches. I'll be doing comedy skits on stage as well.
That sounds great, Frankie. Do you have anything else you'd like to promote before you go?
My focus be prepared, Frankie. I'll got a life letter and everything. My talk about it's our national Bible, it's all thing website.
Where can people find you on YouTube?
Dogs and Wolves is my YouTube channel. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Facebook fan page is Frankie MacDonald Blue Chat Mark. My Twitter is Frankie McD. And my Instagram is Frankie McD 1984. And my Snapchat is Frankie MacDonald. My TikTok is Frankie MacDonald 1984.
All right. Sounds great, Frankie. It was great having you back, and I'm looking forward to talking to you next week.
Best of luck. Yeah, I'm Frankie MacDonald. You're listening to We Don't Have Cookies.
Have a great day, Frankie.
Bye.
If you have a question that you would like for me to ask Frankie, let me know. You can send an email to jason@wedon'thavecookies.com or call 929-266-WDHC. That's 929-266-9342 and leave a voicemail for me to play on the show. I want to give a shout out to a listener that made a video and posted it on Twitter at mushroom_Hudson. Here's the audio.
Jason Marshall is the best in the world in what he does, and that's not an opinion, that's just a fact of life. Yeah, Team Jason Marshall for life.
Very kind words, man. Much appreciated. I also want to give another shout out to Jason Lampro of the Mixed Media Forest podcast for mentioning me on his show. I said at the beginning of the podcast that I would announce who my next guest will be. This guy is without a doubt the most controversial person I have ever asked to be on the podcast. He has double-digit millions of views on YouTube and was featured in a recent documentary on Netflix. If you haven't heard of him, you definitely have heard of his very polarizing belief. Whether you agree with him or not, I can promise you that you do not want to miss his appearance on the show. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, this is Mark Sargent, Flat Earth recruiter for the world. And you can catch me on We Don't Have Cookies this coming week.
That's going to be a very interesting show. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. You do not want to miss that episode. Speaking of subscribing to the show, when I put out the last episode 2 weeks ago, I was really surprised by all the messages. I just assumed after being away for 4 months that most of you would have moved on, but the downloads were just as high as ever. And I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for sticking around. It means a lot to me, and you guys are the best. I hope you had fun listening. If you did, make sure you tell your friends and spread the word. I hope you all have a great week. I'll talk to you next Monday.
Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show and leave a review. See you next time.
Oh, I'm confused.